Hi world, welcome to Brian A. School of Law, your go-to place for all your legal knowledge and needs irrespective of the jurisdiction you're in. I'd like to welcome you to lesson 2 of our School of Law, and today we tackle Constitutional Law 101. My name is Brian Awunda, and I will be your lesson instructor. Let's get right into it. In the interest of time, let me share my screen so that you can see the lesson outline. And there's the screen, there's the lesson outline. I hope you can see it. I've tried to zoom it enough so that you can be legible. So the lesson is lesson 2, Constitutional Law 101. The course code is B101, and this will be part 1 of this lesson of constitutional law. The lesson outline will be as follows. We have the definition of the term constitution. We have what is constitutionalism. We have what does the phrase rule of law mean. And then we shall have a constitutional review, a case study of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. In this lesson, we shall look at chapters 1 to 3 of this Constitution of Kenya 2010. You may wonder why I chose the Constitution of Kenya 2010, regardless of having so other many constitutions. The reason is because Kenya is facing an intended constitutional referendum to change various aspects of its constitution. And so I saw it wise to go through this lesson with you to review the Constitution of Kenya, so that when you as a Kenyan is called upon to vote for changing the constitution, you will know exactly what you are being asked to do. Also, Kenya is a very vibrant economy that invites or opens its doors and its borders for foreign investors who are desirous and who are already investing in Kenya. So one of the attractive things in Kenya is political stability, which makes it a good hub for investments, foreign investments. So I'd like to go through this constitution with you so that if you're a foreign investor who is already investing in Kenya or who is desirous of investing in Kenya, you can exactly know what the constitution entails. And lastly, I received an email from a religious leader in Kisumu, a bishop, Bishop Olwen, who intimated that most of the religious leaders, rather some of the religious leaders, do not know much about what the constitution entails. So he requested me to teach it so that even religious leaders out there, alongside the laws of God, can know what the laws of the land entail. So Bishop Olwen, here is the video. And let's just jump right into it. Definition of the term constitution. As I said again, these lessons will be very basic and straight to the point. And in a layman's language, the term constitution is the laws that govern a state, a country, or a political organization, period. The laws that govern a state, a country, or a political organization. That is it. And then another important term to understand is what is constitutionalism. Constitutionalism, again, in layman's term, is adhering to or abiding by the provisions of the Constitution. Adhering to or abiding by the provisions of the Constitution. This means that what the Constitution provides or the dictates of the Constitution, this is what is supposed to be done. If the Constitution says do not do A, you should not do A. If it says do not do B, you should not do B. If it says do C, then you do C. That is constitutionalism. And thirdly, what does the phrase the rule of law mean? In understanding constitutional law, it is important to understand what the term rule of law means. Rule of law simply means that no government, no institution, or no individual is above the law. Everyone, whether a government, whether an institution, whether individuals, or all of us are subject to the law. No one operates outside the confines of the law. Everyone is bound by the law, and we operate in accordance to the law. Good. Constitutional review, case study of the Constitution of Kenya. Here what we shall do, we shall delve into the first 3 chapters, and I shall take you step by step into the articles of the Constitution, into the provisions of the Constitution, so that you can really understand what the Constitution states about you, about your country, and about your relations with the outside world. Again, just if you are taking notes, definition of the term Constitution, laws that govern a state, country, or political organization. What is constitutionalism? Adhering to or abiding by the provisions of the Constitution. What does the phrase rule of law mean? No government, institution, or individual is above the law. Thank you. So let us go into the Constitution of Kenya, 2010. Again, I have tried to zoom it so that it can be legible. I hope you can see it. Good. So let us go directly to the preamble. These are the table of contents. Let us go directly to the preamble, which is the most important part of the Constitution, if I may say. The preamble is the introductory part of the Constitution. This is the opening statement. And it is very important and crucial because it will let you know indeed what the Constitution is all about. Yes, a really bulky table of contents. Here we are. Let me zoom out a little bit. Just to fit the screen. I hope you can see this. I really hope you can do. If not, you can pause this video at any time, grab a copy of the Constitution or Google it, and then we can go step by step together. So as I've said, the preamble is the opening statement of the Constitution. And Kenyans, sometimes we feel like we are weak. We call ourselves wanyonge, a term for weakness, which should not be the case. Because that's why I want to take you through this Constitution of Kenya, that you may understand the power that you have, that indeed you are the most powerful and you are not weak. So the preamble states like this: we, the people of Kenya, acknowledging the supremacy of the Almighty God of all creation. So that part, remember we talked about the natural law theory, where we say that it's a school of thought that dictates all laws derived from God. So our Constitution is based on the natural law school of thought. We, the people of Kenya, acknowledging the supremacy of the Almighty God of all creation, honoring those who heroically struggle to bring freedom and justice to our land, proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity, and determined to live in peace and unity as one indivisible sovereign nation, respectful of the environment, which is our heritage, and determined to sustain it for the benefit of future generations, committed to nurturing and protecting the well-being of the individual, the family, communities, and the nation, recognizing the aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on the essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law, exercising our sovereign and inalienable rights to determine the form of governance of our country, and having participated fully in making of this Constitution, adopt, enact, and give this Constitution to ourselves and to our future generations. God bless Kenya. So when we voted for this Constitution, when we decided this is the Constitution we'll follow, this is what we signed up to. That is what we say, that we have enacted this Constitution according to guidance of the Almighty God, to protect the nations, to protect the environment, to acknowledge the heroes who died and fought to give Kenya independence, and so that we can give this constitution to the future generations and to our generations. So the first chapter is the sovereignty of the people and the supremacy of this constitution. Sovereignty here means all power, that ultimate power belongs to the people of Kenya. Does not belong to the president, does not belong to the vice president, deputy president, does not belong to any institution. Ultimate power belongs to us, you and me as Kenyans. And we can exercise this power either directly or through our elected representatives. That's why we have, all of us cannot go to parliament. All of us cannot go to Senate. All of us cannot be presidents. All of us cannot be governors, and etc. That is why we elect these representatives to represent us, to be our voice and to speak for us. Good. So the sovereign power which we have, that ultimate power which we have as Kenyans, we have delegated this to state organs. And these state organs are the parliament. Parliament here stands for the Senate and the National Assembly. We have the executive, we have the judiciary. So we have donated this power to these people. Otherwise, we could do this ourselves, but it will be bulky and it will bring chaos. And that's why we donate to a few individuals to represent the many of us. And then this power that we have donated is exercised at two levels: at the national level, that is the national government, and at the county level. Supremacy of this constitution. Supremacy here means ranking, highest in rank, above all else. So this constitution is the supreme law of the Republic of Kenya. This simply means that no other law is above the constitution. The constitution is at the topmost, and then all other laws follow. And then no person can claim or do anything, either individually or as a state, can do anything outside the constitution. All of us are guided by the constitution. And then this constitution is valid, and its legality cannot be challenged in any court of law or by any institution. No one can go to court and say the constitution of Kenya is illegal, so it should be repealed. No, it is above all else. And all laws in the constitution, all laws in the country, should abide and conform to the constitution. Any law which is enacted that is inconsistent with the constitution is null and void and invalid, because the constitution is the supreme law and all laws should derive from the constitution. Now remember, when we talked about the sources of law, we said there are statutes of general application and international treaties and conventions are part of Kenyan law. So this Article 2, provides that any treaty or convention ratified by Kenya shall form part of the law of Kenya and this constitution. So that's another source of law and given effect in this constitution. And then in the defense of this constitution, all of us as Kenyans are required to oblige, respect, and uphold and defend this constitution. We pledge allegiance to this constitution. And any attempt to establish a government otherwise than this constitution will be treason, if I may say. You can remember when the opposition leader some time back went to Uhuru Park and he was sworn in as the people's president. Some people after that, even one of our colleagues was sued for treason because they tried to attempt or establish a government otherwise than in compliance with this constitution. So only the government that is established in this constitution is the true government. That is chapter 1. So let's go to chapter 2, the Republic. Kenya is a sovereign republic. Sovereign here means independent. Kenya is not subject to any other republic, regardless of whether we are a third world economy or developing economy. Kenya is a sovereign republic and it is independent and deserves to be respected as that. Kenya is also a multi-party democratic state, and the national values, which I'll go into shortly, will show you how we're supposed to abide as Kenyans. The territory of Kenya, this consists of our boundaries, of our borders, territorial waters. If I may say, like in the Indian Ocean, from the beach going inwards, 21 kilometers, that is the territory of Kenya. And all this have been documented by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to show the boundaries of Kenya. Devolution and access of Kenya, devolution and access to services. The territory of Kenya is divided into counties. We have 47 counties, and we shall see later in the first schedule. And these governments in the national government and the county government, they're interdependent, and they conduct their relations mutually on the basis of consultation and cooperation. And the national state organ is supposed to offer or ensure reasonable access to its services in all parts of the republic. For example, if it is the judiciary should ensure that we have courts in all parts of the country and they are accessible to all citizens. Article 7 speaks of the national, official, and other languages. The national language of the Republic of Kenya is Kiswahili. The official languages is Kiswahili and English. And the state shall also promote the use of our native languages. And they shall also promote the use of indigenous languages, the Kenyan Sign Language, the use of the Braille, and all other forms of technologies for persons with disabilities to access information. Article 8, we have no state religion. Kenya is not a Christian religion or an Islam religion or a Hindu religion. We have no state religion, and everyone is free to exercise their own religion, as we shall see later in the Bill of Rights. The national symbols and national days. The national symbols, we have the national flag, the national anthem, the coat of arms, and the public seal. All this we shall see when we go to the second schedule of the Constitution later on in this review. The national days, we have the Madaraka Day, celebrated on the 1st of June every year, to commemorate when Kenya attained her independence. And then we have the Mashujaa Day, observed on the 20th of October. This used to be Kenyatta Day, and here we commemorate the heroes and our founding fathers who fought to give Kenya the independence. And then we have Jamhuri Day, observed on every 12th of December. In this we commemorate when Kenya became a republic. And then a national day shall be a public holiday, meaning there shall be no work. People will stay at home and rest and observe these days and acknowledge that indeed Kenya came a long way in attaining her independence. We also have other holidays. We have the Easter holidays, the Christmas holidays, but those ones are now relative, and Parliament may enact legislation prescribing other holidays and providing for the observance of public holidays. The national values I was talking about, these national values and principles of governance, they bind all state organs, all state officers, all public officers, and all persons. And they include patriotism, national unity, sharing and devolution of power, rule of law, as we have discussed, democracy, participation of the people in enacting laws and in any decisions that the government wants to make. The people must be consulted. This also has human dignity. We should respect each other, equity, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights should be upheld, no one should be discriminated, the marginalized groups and the minority groups should be protected. And then we should have good governance, integrity, transparency, and accountability. Sustainable development in projects and in ensuring the livelihood of Kenyans, this is also important. As for culture, these are our traditions and beliefs. It's also recognized in Article 11 of the Constitution, and the government, or rather the state of Kenya, has been mandated to promote all forms of national and cultural expression through literature, arts, traditional celebrations, information, mass media publications in the libraries, and other cultural heritage. The state also recognizes the role of science and indigenous technologies in the development of the nation. When you have an invention, the state is obliged to protect your intellectual property rights, to copyright your work, to patent your work so that you may benefit from your creativity and your inventions. And then Parliament is also mandated to enact legislation or to make law that will ensure if a community comes up with something. For example, there are communities which are known for traditional medicine. If a community comes up with traditional medicine according to their cultures and values, these communities ought to be compensated and to receive royalties and to have ownership of some plant varieties or genetic and diverse characteristics that these communities use in Kenya. Good. Chapter 3, citizenship. A citizen is a citizen of Kenya, if I may say. And any citizen is entitled to the rights and privileges and benefits of this constitution. A citizen of Kenya is entitled to have a passport, an identification card, and a birth certificate, or any other document of registration that you may need. So at Kenyans, you go for a passport, ensure your ID is up to date, ensure you have a birth certificate, because that is your right under the Constitution. How do you retain and acquire citizenship? Citizenship may be acquired by birth or by registration. This means that if you are born in Kenya, you're automatically a citizen of Kenya. In Latin, this is called jus soli. If you are a foreign national and you want to be a citizen of Kenya, you can also apply to be a citizen by registration. And we shall look at how you can do this shortly. Citizenship is not lost through marriage or the dissolution of marriage. What this means that if you are a Kenyan citizen and you marry a foreign national, you do not lose your Kenyan citizenship. And conversely, if you are a foreign national and you marry a Kenyan citizen and you attain citizenship by registration, at the end of that marriage, or if that marriage is dissolved by one because of divorce or something, you as the foreign national who attained the Kenyan citizenship do not lose your citizenship. Citizenship by birth. A person will be a citizen by birth in the following ways. One, if you are born in Kenya. And number two, even though you are not born in Kenya, but either your mother or your father or both are citizens of Kenya, you acquire the citizenship of Kenya. In Latin, this is called jus sanguinis, citizenship by birth. Okay, and also a child who is found in Kenya and who appears to be less than 8 years of age and whose nationality and parents are not known is presumed to be a citizen of Kenya. So if a child, and this brought issues, people are saying that the refugee children in Dadaab and Kakuma will be deemed to be children of Kenya because their nationality was not known and their parents were not known. So this is also debatable. But if this child is presumed to be a citizen of Kenya, and then later on it is found that indeed this child is not a citizen of Kenya, or the parents become known, or some facts were concealed, and you find that this child was not a citizen of Kenya, then the citizenship of this child will be revoked. Citizenship by registration. A person who has been married to a citizen for a period of at least 7 years is entitled on application to be registered as a citizen. What this means is that if you are married to a Kenyan citizen, you should be married to that citizen for at least 7 years, and then you can apply to be registered as a citizen. Good. Also, a person who has been lawfully resident in Kenya for a continuous period of 7 years and who satisfied the conditions prescribed by Parliament may register to be a citizen of Kenya. So if you have been living in Kenya lawfully for one reason or another for a period of at least 7 years, and you're a foreign national, you can apply to be a citizen of Kenya. And also a child who has been adopted, a child who is a citizen, who is not a citizen of Kenya, but has been adopted by Kenyan citizens, that child on application can be registered to be a citizen of Kenya. Good. Dual citizenship. The Constitution of Kenya allows you, as a Kenyan citizen, to hold the citizenship of another country alongside the citizenship of Kenya. Miguna is a good example. We all know him. He is a citizen of Kenya as well as a citizen of Canada. Revocation of citizenship. How citizenship can be lost when you acquired it through registration. So if you lied to the authorities about some material facts during your registration to be a citizen, that citizenship can be lost. Also, if Kenya is involved in a war and you are found to have been communicating with the enemy of Kenya in a way that is detrimental to Kenya, your citizenship can be revoked. If you have been registered as a citizen of Kenya and within 5 years of the registration, you have been convicted or found guilty of an offense and sentenced to imprisonment for a term of 3 years or longer, your citizenship can be revoked. Or after registration of the citizenship, you are convicted for treason or an offense that will lead you to be imprisoned for 7 years or more, or a more severe penalty like death or life imprisonment, your citizenship may be lost. Good. And then Parliament is also allowed or mandated by this Constitution to enact other laws, to enact more laws that will give effect to citizenship in Kenya. And that, dear class, takes us through the first 3 chapters of the Constitution. In the next lesson, we shall tackle chapter 4, which you want us to tackle it as a standalone chapter, the Bill of Rights. Many of us know we have rights, but few of us know how many rights we have in total. The Constitution of Kenya gives us a full chapter on our rights and fundamental freedoms. And in the next chapter, I'd like you to go through this as a homework, go through the Bill of Rights, converse with another regarding your rights, be conversant with what your rights are, so that when the next class comes, you shall indeed know what you deserve and what you are right, what is rightfully yours under the Constitution. Once again, thank you for staying through this lesson. I thank you so much for subscribing to our page. If you have not yet subscribed, hit the button on the bottom right of this video and grow the page, share this page widely, and above all, remember, a legally empowered citizen is a powerful citizen. And as my grandmother says, read the Bible to know your God, and the Constitution to know your country. Ciao. May God bless you and have a blessed week. Thank you.